Hey guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are well and I hope you guys are staying safe. If you're new here, my name is Ayotola, the creative director of So Unique by Adunni and the content creator of this channel, So Unique by Adunni, and this channel was created just for you, specifically for you, to teach you loads of sewing crafts that you can do from the comfort of your home. So if you're a sewing enthusiast or you literally just love crafting, this is the place to be. And all you need to become a full-fledged member is to hit the subscribe button right here and the notification bell so you don't miss out on the awesome content that I have for you. So go ahead and do that. I'll wait for you. Awesome, thank you. Well done. It wasn't so hard, was it? To all my OGs, thank you so much for being a part of this family. You guys are absolutely amazing. This channel will not be here without you, so I am deeply grateful for your support and your love. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here again. So guys, in today's video, I'm going to be going ahead to show you guys how to draft a pattern for a wrap skirt. It's really easy, it's beginner friendly, and I believe in you. I know that you can definitely do it. So we're going to go ahead and watch the tutorial. Make sure you pay attention to details. If you need to rewind it, rewind it. If you need to slow down the pace, slow down the speed. And if you need to watch it a couple of times, go ahead and do that, because guess what, guys, it's definitely made for you and I know that you can do it. All right guys, next week we're going to learn how to sew it, so make sure you stick around. And again, like I said, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on the content that I have for you. Let's get straight into the video. Enjoy. To start off, you need 3 key measurements. You need your skirt length, you need your hip measurement, and your waist measurement. Go ahead and divide your hip measurement by 2 and your waist measurement by 2. So in my case, my measurements will be hip measurement divided by 2 would be 22.5, waist measurement divided by 2 would be 16.5, and my skirt length I went with is about 17 inches, I believe. So starting off, go ahead and draw a vertical line to the left side, which is what I've done. And then at the top, you draw your top line just like I'm doing. So your top line is a horizontal line. Now, after drawing your top line, the next thing you want to do is go ahead and mark your skirt length. And like I said, I went with 17 inches, I believe. So go ahead and mark that, whatever you want it to be. So I was going for a short skirt here, which is why I went with 17 inches. So you can mark this all through, or you can square out if you have a set square. The point we're trying to do is draw a rectangle where the width of the rectangle is half your hip measurement. The length of the rectangle is your skirt length. So that's the whole point of what we're trying to do. As you can see, I'm labeling the vertical line on the left skirt length so that I just remember that that's the skirt length that I've decided to work with. Now, the next thing we're doing is marking half the hip measurements, like I said earlier. And in my specific case, it's 22.5 because my hip measurement is 45 inches. Once your hip measurement has been marked, go ahead and draw a vertical line to link up all the points. And like I said, you should then have a rectangle. So this is the rectangle we're going to be using as a framework for all 3 pieces that will make up the wrap skirt pattern. Now we want to find the midpoint, and this midpoint is basically just half of the rectangle. So once you have your midpoint, you want to go ahead and draw a vertical line across the midpoint and then label that your center back. This will be the exact center back of the back piece of your wrap skirt. So I know it may look funny now, but don't worry, it will make sense. So for this part, we're going to calculate the waist suppression basically, and I'm going to go as slowly as I can. The first thing you want to do is you want to get half your hip measurement, and in my case, that's 22.5. And then you want to get half your waist measurement, and in my case that's 16.5. You want to subtract half your waist measurement from half your hip measurement. In my case, when I do 22.5 minus 16.5, it will give me 6 inches. Again, these measurements are specific to me. For you, you want to go ahead and calculate your measurement. That 6 that we've gotten will need to be divided between the side seam, which is on the 2 external lines. So as you can see, I'm labeling side seam, as well as the darts that would be on the back side of the skirt. Now, as a general rule of thumb, when I like to do my patterns, one thing I like to do is make sure that my darts have a bit more intake than my side seam. So I'm going to divide the excess of 6 into 2, but it wouldn't be 2 equal parts. I'll make sure that one of them is 1 inch, one part is 1 inch more than the other part. So as you can see, I've gone ahead to divide so that I have 3.5 and 2.5. So again, another example, if you had an excess of 7, when you divide it, you will have 3 inches for your side seam, 4 inches for your dart. The dart always takes the one that is 1 inch bigger. For me, this is a method I use even in pattern drafting, and it works carefully. Now let's go ahead and take the 2.5, which is the smaller one, and we're going to use that for the side seam. We're going to divide it by the 2 side seam. So 2.5 divided by 2, it will give us 1.25. Go ahead and mark that to the left and to the right. So that's 1.25 to the left, 1.25 to the right, which is what I've done. Then you want to go ahead and take one of your curves, and as you can see, you want to draw in your side seam. So I'm using my hip curve or hip ruler, and I'm drawing the side seam. Now don't forget that this pattern is not on fold, it's literally for the back part of the wrap skirt. Now once I've done this, you want to make sure that you extend the hip line by 1/2 inch above the top line that you have. And as you can see, I'm just going ahead to draw a straight line. So it's extended by 1/2 inch, and I'm just going ahead to draw a straight line. So at this point, this is pattern 1. Next thing we want to do is, some people may want their one straight, but I always recommend that you allow it come out or flare out a little like an A line. So at the base, go ahead and draw 1 inch as shown, and 1 inch to the other side as well. If you want it a bit more A-line, you can do 1.5 inches, but this is what I want. Then go ahead and draw a slant line. At this point, we're nearly finished, but we haven't done the darts. Don't forget, if it's convenient for you, go ahead and cut it out at this point. However, if you prefer to do your dart before cutting it out, that is also acceptable. Once you're done cutting it out, it will be time for us to sort out the dart. Now, the dart is going to be placed on, there are going to be 2 darts on this particular piece, right? And the best way to find the dart position is to find half the measurement that you have from that center point or the middle point line, right, to the side seam of the skirt. So remember, the side seam is the 2 external points which we've now cut out where the hip is, right? So we want to find the midpoint from that your center back line, and when we find that midpoint, that will be the dart location. So like I said, you want to go ahead and measure what you have from this point to the center back line, and then go and find the midpoint. Once you've marked the midpoint, what we're going to do is get the 3.5 inches that we have for the dart, and we're going to divide that 3.5 inches by 2. Once we divide the 3.5 inches by 2, we're going to go ahead and fix our dart on each side. So the whole point of the mid dart line is so that we can mark our darts equally. So as you can see, I've gone ahead to mark the dart, and my dart length I'm going with is 6 inches here. So after I've marked my dart length, I'm just drawing my dart in place. Again, remember that the 3.5 inches that we have on the paper for dart is for both darts. So that means one dart will be about 1.75 inches in total. Once you're done with the dart position, go ahead and cut out the top line as shown, and then the next thing would be for us to sort out the other 2 pieces that make up the wrap skirt. To sort out the other 2 pieces, you can either start from the beginning and go ahead and draw in a rectangle that is half your hip measurement and your skirt length measurement in terms of like the width and the length, or you can go ahead and place this on the other 2 pieces of paper, and then use your pattern weights or some pins to hold the pattern piece in place, and then use this as a template to cut out the other 2 pieces. I'm going with this method, so as you can see, I have 2 sheets of paper underneath. I've gone ahead to place the finished skirt pattern for number 1, placed it on top, added some pattern weights, and then cutting it out as a template. The concept is that for piece 2 and 3, they'll still be the same width and the same measurements, right? However, certain design features will be introduced just to make sure that we have the wrap skirt that we want. Just before you finish cutting, it's important that you transfer your darts, transfer the center points lines or center back lines, and every other important line that you might require. So one thing that you see me doing is going on the actual top line that we did, not the elevated one before we added half an inch, just the normal top line. So I went over that with my tracing wheel, and then I'm using my awl as well to indicate the dart points. And that's because I want to be able to replicate this on the other pieces. So like I said, you have the option of tracing it out like I'm doing, which is kind of like the lazy method, but quite effective. Or you can go ahead and draw 3 of these patterns, and then after drawing 3 of them, you can then start working on it. So once you're done transferring all your necessary points, necessary darts and everything, we're going to go ahead and remove piece 1, and then we're going to go ahead and focus on piece 2. So the second piece is what we're working on now. So now that we have piece 2, at the moment it just looks like a plain piece of paper, nothing much going on to it. But the first thing you're going to do is find your tracing wheel marks, right? So I'm going to go ahead and label it as piece 2. Next, I'm going to draw ahead and draw the actual top line. So that's the top line before we have elevated it. And one thing you notice in this case is that in the top line, it dips around the center back, right? So I have the first vertical line, horizontal line, and then I have the one that is about half an inch elevated at the waist, at the side seam. But that one kind of blends in, and that's to allow for a good shape around the belly. So if you notice for the back, it was straight high, half an inch elevated all through, but for this one it dips around the center front line. Also on the left side of piece 2, I went ahead to draw a straight vertical line, and that's because for this piece is going to be the piece that is going in on the inside, so it's going to be wrapping, so there's no need for it to be curved, it just needs to be straight. Also on this left side that we've drawn the straight point, we're going to be attaching a rope or a string, and that's what you're going to use to tie your skirt together. But don't worry, I'm sure you saw it in the video of the skirt and you'll see it in the sewing. At this point, piece number 2 is done. So let's go ahead and visualize it. So you have piece number 1 like this, where the wrong side is facing us, and then you paste piece number 2 on it, and this is what it looks like so far. So as you can see, you have the straight edge, right? And if you were to wear it like this, your body will be exposed. So we do need piece number 3. It's absolutely important. Moving on to piece number 3, like I said, you want to go ahead and trace it, add your darts as shown, add in your other lines. The next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and do your design for this piece. And for your design, it's up to you. You can freestyle. So the first thing I decided to do is I wanted it to kind of be slant. So I went ahead taking the waistline and I just went ahead to do a slant line. And then after that, I did another slant line on the front that is vertical. So I went ahead to label this as piece 3. And make sure that when you're doing any lines, you're actually doing it over the darts. So this is what it looks like. And then I'm cutting it off just so that I have number 3 piece as it should be. So after cutting it off, I'm going to put it on my design, and you guys can actually see what the skirt would look like. So you have piece 1, which is the back piece. You have piece 2, which is the first front piece. And then you have piece 3, which is the second front piece that we placed directly on top. And basically, this is the way your skirt will end up looking like. So I'm really pleased with this. I hope you guys are able to draft your pattern as well. And like I said, join me next week for the sewing. I will get sewing.